I'm actually about to change jobs soon." "Is that because you got fired, not because you're changing jobs? With your high school education and clumsiness, there's no way you could find another job." Looking down on me with a mocking face, she underestimated me. "I got headhunted, actually. I'll be your boss soon." What? After that, I learned about her shocking past. "My name is Ethan. My parents both worked, so I spent a lot of time with my grandfather, who lived with us. He was a police officer working at the local station, known as a kind officer, beloved by everyone in town. Even outside of his duty hours, he often went out to help with troubles in the neighborhood, offering advice and assistance. One night, my parents were out, and it was just my grandfather and me at home. Suddenly, we received a call from the owner of the nearby diner. "There's a customer here who can't pay. It's a woman with a child. I'm not sure what to do." "Understood. I'll be there right away." Since he couldn't leave me, a young child, alone at home, my grandfather carried me on his back and rushed to the diner. The woman who couldn't pay was sitting there dejectedly with her young daughter. The girl, not understanding the situation, looked frightened and tearful. The woman pleaded to my grandfather. "It's not a dine and dash. I had my wallet just a moment ago. I must have dropped it somewhere." My grandfather, a seasoned police officer, instantly recognized that the woman was not a bad person and said to the shop owner, "If she lost her wallet, it can't be helped. I'll cover the cost for now." He paid the bill and took the woman and her daughter out of the shop. After getting their names and addresses, he let them go. That night, my grandfather and I, with me still on his back, searched for the woman's lost wallet. We finally found it at dawn and delivered it to the woman's home. Although I was young, being carried on his back, I could feel my grandfather's kindness. I understood why he was known as a kind officer, beloved by everyone in town. "Grandpa, when I grow up, I want to be a police officer too." When I said this, my grandfather smiled and said, "Ethan, I don't help people because I'm a police officer. I do it because I can't ignore people in trouble." "Really? So, if you see someone in trouble, help them out. Good things will come your way eventually." "Okay, I understand." My grandfather was my pride. Throughout elementary and middle school, I followed his advice, helping students in trouble, regardless of whether they were older or younger. Some students talked behind my back, calling me a phony and saying they didn't like me. But I didn't let it bother me. However, when I saw one of them bullying a younger student, I couldn't ignore it and confronted him. "Here comes Mr. Goody Two-Shoes again. This is none of your business. Back off. Don't do things that hurt others." Angered, he suddenly attacked me, and we ended up in a scuffle. In my passionate defense, we ended up in a scuffle. Eventually, we both collapsed, exhausted, but then he suddenly burst out laughing, and I found myself laughing too. "I thought you were just a goody two-shoes, but you're pretty tough. I've changed my mind about you." "You too." That's how we became friends. Just as my grandfather said, doing good deeds leads to good things. That's what I thought at the time. But in high school, there was one student who targeted me, causing trouble. It wasn't a boy, but a girl, and I was at a loss on how to handle her. Her name was Olivia. She was smart, always topping the class, charming in looks, and popular among both boys and girls. Yet, for some reason, Olivia always had a cold and disdainful attitude towards me alone. I was also a good student, so Olivia and I were chosen as class representatives together. As the cultural festival approached, the workload for class representatives was heavy. Our class decided to set up a pancake stall, with the girls handling the preparation and cooking of ingredients, and the boys building the stall. On the day before the festival, the stall was completed. It was a rush job, but we managed to create a pretty decent stall. What's this? This stall looks terrible. What do you mean? All the boys worked hard on it. It's because you as the class rep are useless. That's why we ended up with this odd stall. Redo it by tomorrow. Tomorrow? That's impossible. Then our class will have to cancel its participation in the festival. It's your responsibility, Ethan. That's. Reluctantly, I stayed up all night alone to redo the stall. For some reason, Olivia always turned her face away whenever she saw me. She would even click her tongue intentionally. At first, she just showed her disdain through her attitude, but as graduation approached, she began to openly glare at me. On the day of the graduation ceremony, it was raining. Thinking how unlucky it was for such an important day, I headed to school and saw Olivia walking in the rain, apparently having forgotten her umbrella. Despite the unpleasant experiences she had caused me, following my grandfather's teaching to help those in trouble, I approached Olivia and said, "You'll get soaked on this important day of our graduation." I offered her my umbrella. Then Olivia glared at me fiercely and snapped, "Don't act like a stalker." "Stalker? What are you talking about? I'm just offering you an umbrella so you don't get wet. I didn't ask for your help. Stay away from me." She suddenly shoved me. I slipped and landed right in a puddle formed by the rain. So, I ended up attending the graduation ceremony completely drenched. Trying to help someone, but ending up in a worse situation myself, I muttered to myself. Grandpa said doing good deeds brings good things, but sometimes it doesn't work out. After graduating from high school, I landed a job at an IT company, where my programming skills were recognized, and I worked in the app development department. Being a science-oriented person, I had taught myself programming during high school and even obtained certifications. The app I contributed to developing received positive recognition in the industry, and just 3 years into my job, I was promoted to a lead position. The company grew, and among those who joined straight out of high school, I was at the forefront. All right, I'll keep pushing myself even harder. I was enthusiastic, but one evening, as I was about to head home after overtime, a man called out to me from the shadows. Listening to what he had to say, I exclaimed in disbelief, What? You can't be serious." This left me utterly astonished. A few days later, I received an email about a high school reunion. The thought of seeing my old classmates again made my heart race, but the organizer of the reunion was none other than Olivia. She was the same girl who had pushed me into the puddle on our graduation day. Honestly, I hesitated about attending, but the idea of missing out on a reunion I was looking forward to because of one unpleasant person seemed too much of a sacrifice. So, I replied with my attendance confirmation. When I arrived at the venue that day, I saw Olivia sitting at the reception. I didn't want to see her face, so I entered through a different entrance. Catching up with old classmates after a long time, I was suddenly poked in the back. Turning around, it was Olivia. "It's really bothersome, you know." What is? You didn't sign in at the reception. Ignoring the rules, do you even consider yourself a professional? Olivia was still as tough on me as ever. When I went to sign in, I saw Olivia's workplace written there and was surprised. "Not just your name, write down your workplace too." "Actually, I'm about to switch jobs." "That's not a job change. You got fired, right? With your high school education and clumsiness, there's no way you could switch jobs." I called Olivia back as she was about to return to the reception with a mocking look, and said, "I'm being headhunted actually. I'll be your boss soon." Olivia was visibly shocked. I patted Olivia on the shoulder and left the venue. The man who appeared from the shadows after I worked overtime was a professional scout from a staffing agency. He had noticed my skills that contributed to the rapid growth of the IT company and offered me a headhunting opportunity. And the company he proposed for my new job was the one where Olivia worked. I switched to a major telecommunications equipment manufacturer, where a position as head of the development department was prepared for me. Although I was the youngest in management, it was also a testament to the high expectations of the company. Olivia was assigned as a project leader, making her a direct subordinate to me. Olivia couldn't honestly accept this fact, and couldn't resort to the same kind of harassment as in high school. She avoided eye contact and didn't speak to me. "Olivia, how long will it take to fix the project? Don't call me by my name." "Oh, right. We were high school classmates, so sorry." Even at work, Olivia was seen as a Madonna figure, but she remained cold only to me. She must have not found it amusing that I, whom she looked down upon, suddenly arrived and became her boss. I tried to talk to Olivia as little as possible. Once I got accustomed to the new workplace, a female employee invited me out for lunch. She was cheerful, so I readily accepted. "I heard you're knowledgeable in programming. Could you advise me on how to study?" "Well, I self-taught, but attending night school is the best way. If you decide to study, I'll change your work shift for you." "Thank you." The purpose of the female colleague inviting me to lunch was that consultation. But I was happy that she was proactive about wanting to learn programming. Leaving the restaurant, as I was heading back to the office with her, we ran into Olivia by chance. Her attitude then became colder than ever, and she started behaving defiantly towards me, her boss. Thinking this situation could affect the project, I quietly approached her at my welcome party later. "Olivia, I need to talk to you later." Having become cheerful from the alcohol, Olivia said, "Is that an order from the boss?" "Well, yes." Wanting to have a serious talk with Olivia, I responded so. Then Olivia, with her usual condescending look, stared at me and said, "Then I suppose I have no choice." After the party, she reluctantly followed me, and we entered a nearby bar. I intended to talk about the project's progress, but as the alcohol flowed, I vented my frustrations about Olivia's cold attitude towards me since high school. I was taught by my grandpa to help those in trouble, and in elementary and middle school, everyone liked me, but in high school, for some reason, you were the only one who looked down on me and harassed me. Why, what about me didn't you like? Olivia, who had been silently listening to my complaints, looked at me determinedly and said, I liked you, Ethan." Yeah. For a moment, my mind went blank. "I really liked you, so when I saw you talking with other girls, I couldn't stand it, and that's why I acted that way." "You, really?" "After doing something so terrible on the day of our graduation ceremony, I thought we could never be friends again and gave up. But working together again, I realized I still like you." Look at the time. "Sorry, but let's call it a night for now." Thrown off by Olivia's unexpected confession, I hurriedly left the bar. According to Olivia's confession, it seems we both attended the same kindergarten. At that time, Olivia was being harassed by other boys, and I helped her. For me, taught by my grandfather to help others, it was a normal thing to do, but it seemed surprising to Olivia. Since then, she said, I became her hero. When I got home from the bar and told my grandfather, he asked, "What's the name of this woman?" "It's Olivia Parker." "Olivia, I see. It must be the same girl from back then." In fact, my grandfather once rushed to a diner on a report of a dine and dash, and the woman who had lost her wallet was named Parker. The girl with her was Olivia. Feeling a sense of destiny from this unexpected encounter, I decided to honestly accept Olivia's confession. Deep down, I had always harbored feelings for Olivia, who was like the Madonna of our school. The next day, I confessed to Olivia as well. Olivia nodded with a happy smile. It was the first time I saw her smile. I thought she was incredibly beautiful. When I told her about my grandfather's story, Olivia too felt it was a fateful encounter, laughing and saying, "If we get married, I'm sure we'll make it work." I vowed to make Olivia happy. and I realized my grandfather's teaching was indeed correct. Helping others will surely bring good things in return.